My name is Evan, and this happened to me and my friends during a summer road trip a couple years ago. We were driving from the Midwest out to the West Coast, just four of us trying to enjoy one last adventure before work and real life started. There was me, my best friend Dylan, his girlfriend Jenna, and our buddy Cole. We drove in Dylan's beat-up compact car, stopping wherever we could afford. We weren't rich, so we stayed in cheap roadside motels, places that looked acceptable from the outside, but always felt wrong once you stepped inside. One night, late, we pulled off the highway and checked into a budget motel in a desert town, the kind of place you'd only stop at if you were too tired to keep driving. Even in the parking lot, it looked bad. The paint on the walls was faded and peeling. The pool was drained, cracked, and filled with wind-blown trash. And the neon sign over the office flickered like it couldn't decide whether it wanted to stay alive. It was close to 11 p.m., and we were exhausted. At the front desk was an older guy with a thick mustache. His name tag said Ray. He barely looked up from his phone when we checked in. We got two adjoining rooms. Dylan and Jenna took one room. Cole and I took the other. There was a connecting door between the rooms, and we left it unlocked so we could hang out without going outside. Inside, the room smelled like stale cigarettes mixed with cheap cleaning spray. The beds had thin, scratchy sheets. The air conditioner rattled nonstop like something loose was trapped inside it. We ordered pizza from a chain place nearby and sat on the beds eating and watching whatever was on cable, some old sitcom reruns. We talked about the places we'd seen earlier in the day, joked about how gross the motel was, and tried not to think about the fact that we still had a long drive ahead. Then around midnight, everything changed. I was lying back on the bed scrolling on my phone when I heard voices through the wall, from the room next to ours. At first it was muffled like a TV on low volume. Then it got louder. A man's voice, angry, shouting something like, "You think you can just leave after everything?" Then a woman's voice answered, shaking and scared, "Please stop! You're hurting me!" Something thumped against the wall, then another. It sounded like furniture being shoved or someone being pushed. Then came the crying. Not screaming, just soft, broken whimpers like she couldn't breathe right. Cole sat up in bed and looked at me. "You hearing this?" he asked. "Yeah," I said. "Sounds like a fight." I knocked on the connecting door and Dylan and Jenna stepped into our room. Jenna's face was already tense. "Is that a woman crying?" she asked. "We can't ignore that." Dylan shrugged like he was trying to stay calm. "It's probably just people arguing," he said. "This happens in places like this." But the noises kept going, more yelling, a sharp smack, then louder sobbing. It went on for almost 20 minutes. Jenna paced the floor. "What if he's actually hurting her?" she said. "What if she needs help?" Cole nodded. "I'm not sleeping while that's happening next door," he said. I felt my stomach tightening. My heart was beating harder than it should have. We'd all seen enough true crime shows to know what ignoring things like that can lead to. Finally, Jenna said what none of us wanted to admit. At least call the front desk. So Dylan picked up the room phone and dialed 0. The front desk guy answered annoyed, like we had interrupted him. Dylan explained what we were hearing from the room next door. The man's response was simple. "I'll check it out." Then he hung up. We waited, and suddenly, the arguing stopped. No voices, no crying, no thumps, just silence. 10 minutes later, we heard footsteps outside on the walkway. Then a vehicle engine started. I pulled the curtain back just enough to look. A black pickup truck rolled through the lot and drove out, too dark to see the license plate. Cole whispered, "That was fast." "Maybe they left," Dylan said, but Jenna wasn't satisfied. "What if something happened?" she said. "We should knock." Dylan sighed, irritated. "It's late," he said. "Let it go." But Jenna didn't let it go, so we all went outside. The motel was quiet, no voices anywhere, only the distant hum of the highway. The door to the room next to ours was closed, no light under it. I knocked lightly. Nothing. I knocked harder. Still nothing. Dylan turned like it proved his point. "See?" he said. "Nobody's in there." We started walking back, but Jenna stopped us again. She dug into her bag and pulled out a small UV flashlight keychain, one of those cheap black lights people use to check hotel rooms. She'd bought it for the trip because she was paranoid about cleanliness. "Let's check that room," she said. Cole laughed nervously. "That's insane!" But I could tell we were all curious now. Dylan called the front desk again. A couple minutes later, Ray came walking over with a master key. Up close, he looked sweaty and annoyed, like he hated his job. "You kids serious?" he asked. Jenna nodded. "We heard people fighting in there." Ray didn't even hesitate. "That room's empty," he said. I stared at him. "Empty," I repeated. He shrugged. "Checked out earlier. Nobody booked it. That didn't make sense, but he opened the door anyway." We stepped inside. It looked identical to ours, 2 beds, a TV, a small bathroom. But the room was spotless. No luggage, no trash, no open food containers, no signs anyone had been staying there. The beds were made perfectly tight like a display. Ray stood in the doorway. "See?" he said. "Vacant." Then he turned like he was ready to leave, but Jenna clicked the UV light on. "Wait," she said. "I just want to check something." Ray rolled his eyes. "Knock yourselves out." Jenna shut off the main lamp and swept the black light around. At first, nothing. Then it hit the carpet beside the nearest bed. Glowing spots appeared, purple-blue stains in irregular patterns. Not like a spilled drink, more like splatter. Then she aimed it at the wall. Handprints, not smears, handprints, like someone had pressed their palms against the wall. Then she moved it across the bedspread. The bed looked clean in normal light, but under the UV it lit up with scattered spots. I felt my throat go dry. Cole whispered, "What is that?" Jenna moved into the bathroom. The sink had a faint glow around the drain. The floor had more. Ray shifted, suddenly uncomfortable. "It's probably just spills," he muttered. "People are disgusting." But I remembered something from documentaries. UV light can reveal traces even after something is cleaned, and it can reveal things you don't want to find. I said, barely above a whisper, "That looks like blood." Ray's expression changed immediately. Not confusion, not surprise. Fear. He stepped forward fast. "Okay," he said sharply. "That's enough. Get out." Jenna looked at him. "Why?" she asked. He didn't answer. He just herded us out of the room, then locked the door fast, like he didn't want it open any longer than necessary. We went back to our rooms. None of us were laughing now. None of us were hungry anymore. Jenna sat on her bed and started Googling. "UV blood detection," she said. What she found made her face go pale. Black lights can reveal blood residue because of proteins that remain even after cleaning. That meant what we saw wasn't just random mess, and it made one thing worse. We heard people in that room, but according to Ray, nobody was supposed to be there. That night, none of us really slept. Every time I started drifting off, I heard that woman's crying again. The next morning, we packed up early. Ray wasn't at the desk. A woman we'd never seen before checked us out like it was a normal day. We hit the road, but Jenna couldn't stop thinking about it. While I drove, she looked up reviews for the motel. Most were what you'd expect. Dirty rooms, noise, bed bugs, bad service. But then she found something else. A review from about a year earlier describing almost the same situation. Heard fighting next door. Called the desk. Room was empty. Creepy stain. Staff acted weird. Then another review. Same pattern. Night noises, arguments. Front desk pretending nothing was happening. Jenna kept searching. Then she found a post online in a creepy encounters forum. The title was something like Strange Motel Experience in Desert Town Setup. The story matched ours almost exactly, and in the comments, someone linked to a local news article from a couple years back. We pulled over at a gas station so she could read it out loud. The article said a man had been arrested for multiple murders, a contract killer. And what was worse was the method. He allegedly used cheap motels like that as staging grounds. He'd fake fights, fake distress, sometimes with recordings, sometimes with accomplices. It was bait. If anyone reported it, they were marked as problems, witnesses, snitches, targets. Police said he liked transient motels because people didn't ask questions and guests rarely came back. The article mentioned blood traces found in rooms that were cleaned over and over. Jenna's voice shook. "That's what happened to us," she said. Cole checked the date. The arrest had been a while back, but Jenna found another article, a follow-up. The killer had escaped during a transfer, and he was still missing, still believed to be in desert areas. My skin went cold. I stared down the road like it had suddenly become dangerous. Dylan tried to calm everyone down. "It's probably a coincidence," he said. "Just drive." So we got back on the highway, and that's when I saw it, a black pickup truck behind us, same shape, same height, same headlights. My grip tightened on the wheel. Cole leaned forward in the back seat. "Is that—" he started. I didn't answer right away because the answer made my stomach drop. It followed us for miles. When I sped up, it stayed with us. When I slowed down, it stayed behind. Finally, I took an exit toward a rest area. The truck exited too. That was when panic really hit. Jenna called 911 with shaking hands. The dispatcher told us to drive to the nearest police station, so I made a quick turn back toward town. My heart was pounding so hard it felt like it was shaking my whole body. The truck got closer. It honked, and for a moment I saw the driver through the windshield, a man with a mustache, like Ray. But I didn't want to believe that. We reached the police station, a small building near the main road. As soon as we pulled into the lot, the truck slowed, then turned away at the last second and disappeared. Inside the station, we told the officers everything. The motel, the room next door, the crying, Ray's reaction, the UV stains, the truck. One officer listened quietly and took notes. Then he said something that made the whole thing feel real. "We've heard similar stories about that motel." He didn't say it like a rumor. He said it like a warning. They sent someone to check the motel. Later they told us Ray was gone, quit that same morning. The room next door had been cleaned again, but forensics confirmed old blood traces and it matched a missing person case. After that, we didn't stay anywhere cheap again. That night we checked into a safer hotel in a bigger town. Doors locked, curtains closed. We watched the parking lot like we were waiting for something to happen. Nothing did, but I still didn't sleep. Every little sound outside made me tense. The next day we drove straight to our destination with minimal stops. No more roadside motels, no more "it looks fine," because it wasn't fine. We made it out, but it changed us. Dylan and Jenna didn't last long after the trip. Too much tension, too much fear that never fully left. Cole stopped talking about it entirely. And me? I still read reviews before I book anything. I still double-check locks. And I bought my own UV light. Looking back, I know we were lucky. If we hadn't left early, or if that truck hadn't turned away, I don't know what would have happened. All I know is this. Some places aren't just run down. Some places are used, and sometimes the safest thing you can do is drive past and never look back.